So next we'll look at workload migration and some of the enhancements we have made within HCX in VCF 9.0. VMware HCX is a solution that's built from ground up for workload migration and mobility. We achieved this by providing two concrete pillars. First is HCX networking, and second one, HCX migration types. For HCX networking, we automatically build a secure, fast, and robust networking pipeline between the sites. HCX also allows customer to add other optional capabilities like L2 extension, encryption, traffic engineering, mobility optimization, in short MON, etc. On top of that, HCX gives customer option of using different migration types that suits their use cases. And we will go over these migration types in detail in the following slides. First, let's talk about some of the scenarios that HCX covered. So on this site, we have provided multiple scenarios and HCX values for migrating into a greenfield environment. Let's talk about one of the common scenarios in details. For example, we see a lot of customer moving to VCF private cloud during their hardware refresh cycle. So during the hardware upgrade, customer deploys the VCF on the brand new hardware, in a same location or a different site, but a new vCenter, and uses HCX to migrate the workload from legacy side to this new VCF without any disruption to the services. This migration can be done as lift and shift approach, where the entire data center migrates at once, or at a wave migration, where certain applications or maybe workloads from certain racks migrate first and other follows at a different time. And in that approach, HCX also have option to provide L2 network extension, so workload can communicate continuously between site and nothing breaks. With both approaches, HCX also provide capabilities to retain IP addresses and MAC addresses on these virtual machines and can live migrate large amount of virtual machines um, simultaneously without the need to deploy any agents on the workloads or reboot these virtual machines. And for all these, we utilizes underneath the vMotion technologies. Now, some customers simply don't have enough hardware resources to do a lift or shift between vCenters, right? In such cases, HCX can also help migrate large number of virtual machines within the same vCenter, but to a different cluster. So migration between the cluster of same vCenter. And a couple of common use cases there are either cluster rebalancing or cross-vendor migration. So for example, if a customer have a virtual machine running on Intel-based hardware and they would like to migrate it to AMD or vice versa, they can utilize HCX to do that. And specifically HCX bulk migration type, helps with this migration and utilizes, it does allow or force VM reboot, but customer can do a very large scale migration up to 1,000 virtual machines at a time, but still keeping or having an option to keep IP addresses and MAC addresses, and migrated from VLAN base to NSX or VPC base or even between VLAN networks. In that case, when customer have to migrate within the same vSphere cluster, we do recommend vSphere vMotion capabilities. So next, let's take a deep dive on available migration types within the HCX. Here I have list of different migration type. We'll go over one at a time in depth. Let's start with bulk migration. HCX bulk migration uses the host-based replication protocol to copy the disk from VM VM on the source side to the target side. The VM can remain powered on and on normal state during the disk replication period. Once the disk replication is complete, the delta sync occur on the disk. After the delta sync is complete, HCX proceed with the switchover process. During the switchover phase, the source VM is powered off and the replica is powered on in the target side. This switchover process can run immediately, or we can wait and schedule the process during maybe a downtime window. The downtime period for bulk migration is concise. The workload for this process is uh, power off the source, then power on the target. So that's the only time it takes, downtime it takes, power off and power on between virtual machines. And as the name implies, bulk migration can you can do multiple virtual machines migration simultaneously up to 1,000 virtual machine as of VCF 9.0 version. And bulk migration do not require a L2 extension, but is recommended for a fast switchover. Customer can also run personalized script during the switchover phase and allowing customer to maybe change IP address if that's one of the requirement. If they're changing the networks, they can do that automatically with during the switchover time. And additional HCX automation option also includes updating virtual machine tool driver or virtual machine hardware level. These settings are all selectable from HCX UI and execute immediately on the target side replica virtual machines during the switchover process. We also have another migration type called replication assisted vMotion, in short, RAV. So RAV combines the power of the bulk migration or vSphere replication capabilities and vMotion. And so this is a very advanced migration service that allow you to live migrate virtual machines, multiple of them at once. So, as I said, as of VCF 9.0, you can simultaneously migrate up to 1,000 virtual machines. Customer select all the virtual machines they would like to migrate, and HCX begins the process of replicating first, right? They replicate the VM state to the target side. When it is time, the scheduled time for the migration to switch over, HCX also then switch from replication to vMotion capabilities and move the active state of the VM. RAV migration do not require L2 extension also, but it is recommended, especially if the customer is migrating uh, multiple virtual machines in waves, so wave migration. And the virtual machine IP address and MAC address also retain with RAV migration, and there is no downtime because it's underneath its vMotion capabilities. Next, HCX assisted vMotion. This migration type was launched in VCF 5.2.0, and HCX assisted vMotion leverages the vMotion protocol, so VMware vMotion protocol, to move a live virtual machine to the target site. During this migration, HCX copies the active state of the virtual machine, including virtual disks, CPU cycles, RAM, IP addresses, and MAC addresses. HCX really orchestrate the vMotion of multiple VMs with almost a line rate speed and can also be scheduled. Um, Listed in the HCX documentation, we do have few prerequisites that is needed for HCX vMotion, and some essential prerequisites include VMware hardware version 9 or above, or having a layer 2 network subnet network wherever the migration is happening from source between source and target, and HCX vMotion required 150 megabits or higher throughput. If customer already don't have an existing L2 extension between sites, HCX provide a simple user interface for network extension. Once you have extended the network, you can proceed on selecting multiple virtual machines, and HCX will orchestrate the live migration one VM at a time, but it will orchestrate the process of multiple VMs. You also have the option to select upgrading the VM tool and hardware during this HCX vMotion. But HCX vMotion, of course, some vMotion, so it does not reboot the VM. So, but hardware version upgrade or VM tool upgrade requires a reboot or power off. So whenever virtual machine power off next, that's the time all these upgrades happen. Next, let's talk about vMotion. So you can, also do a regular vCenter vMotion of one virtual machine at a time via HCX. It's the same vMotion that you are familiar from vCenter, and but you can also execute from within HCX UI. And the cold migration is next. So this is very similar to vMotion. It uses the same network path, same capabilities. The only difference is that you can migrate a powered off virtual machine using this capability. And you can retain the same IP addresses and MAC address and all that. And it also needs to satisfy all the vMotion capabilities that is required for regular vMotion. Next is operating system assisted migrations. In short, we call it OSAM. And OSAM enables customer to migrate application virtual machines that might be running on different hypervisors, such as KVM or Hyper-V, into vSphere-based hypervisors, so within VCF. OSAM is the only HCX migration type that requires an agent, or we call it Sentinel, to be deployed on the guest operating system of the virtual machine that is getting migrated. And you need that to copy the state of the virtual machine and recreate it within the vSphere environment. This migration process is a warm migration, which means that once the virtual machine is copied on the target side, HCX power off the source and then power on the target virtual machine. So these are the migration type we have. And next, let's talk about, maybe we'll recap some of the HCX capabilities we talked about, and some of the network support we have. It's shown here on the right side, and we will go over by the animation some of the common use case scenarios. So HCX, seamlessly handle various networking constructs, as you can see on the list on the right side. Whether your workload currently running on traditional VLAN, like those backed by vSphere distributed port groups, or you might be running on modern NSX segments or NSX VLAN segments, or a customer might have advanced multi-site setup with NSX federation, so HCX recognizes the global and local segments. or customer might be looking into migrating into latest and greatest or VPC subnets, the current existing virtual machines into VPC. They can use HCX to non-disruptively migrate into a VPC subnet or even between VPC subnets. And HCX provide all these different migration paths and crucial L2 network extension capabilities to maintain connectivity between sites, as we discussed. And of course, migration isn't limited to just virtual machine environment. HCX includes dedicated workflows to migrate workloads directly from non-vSphere platform, as we discussed, KVM or Hyper-V, into VCF environments. And for the majority of the migration types we discussed today, there is a version limit. So, you have to have vSphere X plus, and that information can be easily obtained from online from the matrix. But HCX is not limited. HCX OSAM migration type, I must add, is not limited to any vSphere version. So HCX is designed to connect to and migrate workload from any source vCenter version, enabling you to modernize even your oldest vSphere estate directly into the latest and greatest VCF platform, and that is only available with the via the OSAM migration type. And also looking ahead, HCX also facilitate supervisor cluster onboarding, right? So if the customer were to migrate Kubernetes workload into VCF managed environment, HCX can facilitate that also. So it's very extensive capabilities, and it's powered by HCX robust migration mechanism, including bulk migration, Rev migration, OSAM migration, to ensure customer can choose the right method for each workload with minimal disruption. So let's go over some of those examples, some of those scenarios. I have it here. In first case, we have customer who have on the source side, which is represented on the right, and the new destination is a side B, and we can migrate within NSX VLAN network to maybe latest and greatest VPC subnet. Similarly, if customer have virtual machine running on NSX overlay, NSX network, they can non-disruptively migrate into VPC subnets. And if they have virtual machine running on regular VLAN, they can also migrate from there to VPC subnet as shown here. Or if customer have a use case where they want to replicate the network from the source side to the destination side. So if they have a VLAN, they like to continue the VLAN on the destination side, they can still do that with HCX. And not only that, we can also do network extension with HCX between VLANs, so they can get a continuous network connectivity between side and no need to change IP addresses or have any disruptions. So in closing, for customer who are embarking on migration to the VCF, latest 9.0, this could often means that they might have to consolidate workload from multiple different environment, different sites that might have different network topologies and even different hypervisor platform. And this complexity can be daunting, but HCX is engineered precisely to address these challenges, offering unparalleled flexibility and broad compatibility to streamline the customer's VCF adoption journey. The way I see it is HCX acts as a universal adapter, right? And from wherever you like to migrate, makes it easy to migrate within VCF and adopt the latest capabilities of VMware Cloud Foundation. Thank you for watching, and we'll move to the next section.